There's little more that I loved about being a kid than being creative. My imagination ran rampant, and no one judged me for it. I would pick up a stick with a handle, and suddenly I was storming the beaches of Normandy. Those Hot Wheels in the dirt were essentially a Formula One race. But as you get older, that imagination starts to dissipate. Those sticks are just sticks. You no longer play with Hot Wheels. And for the most part, that's true. Sure, there's a ton of creative adults out there doing amazing things, but it's just not the same. Except for one place, the Sandbox video game. You see, most video games are relatively linear. You have a story with a series of missions. Some are open world and you can do them in whatever order you want, but you still have rules. But some video games are not like that at all. Some games allow you to create whatever you can conceive, to explore the horizons of the game and to build things that no one else has. That is the point of the Sandbox game, a vast landscape that you can play God with and create anything. And when I say anything, I mean anything. Now, there are a million amazing Sandbox games out there, like Gary's Mod, Terraria. There's a lot, and I don't want to make this video insanely long, so I'm going to niche it down to the one that had the biggest impact on me personally. You probably guessed it, Minecraft. Legos were by far my favorite toy as a kid. Creating something out of building blocks was just fascinating to me. Dumping out the packet of bricks, getting the instructions out, and turning that pile of random pieces into something cool was amazing to me. As I started growing older, I found I played with Legos less and less, and I thought it would be the death of my love of building, and then I stumbled across a little game on YouTube that changed my life. I believe that Minecraft is the most influential game of all time, but why? What makes the appeal so wide? Even games considered relatively perfect, like Red Dead Redemption 2, have a much smaller player base, so what makes Minecraft so different? Well, it's the level of complexity versus the level of reusability. Take something like Rocket League, for example. That game is not insanely complex, and the core mechanics haven't been changed since the game came out. Yet it is insanely reusable. Players are still discovering new mechanics after years, and the skill ceiling continues to rise. Minecraft is a great example of this as well. The idea of the game is simple. Put a player in a completely destructible world with a couple optional tasks, and let the player build the game for themselves. This is the core of Sandbox. This is the reason that I adore this genre so much. Instead of creating the game for the player, the developers treat it more like a Lego set, dumping out a pile of stuff to mess around with, providing loose instructions, and letting the player create the game for themselves. This is the reason Minecraft's appeal is so widespread. You can genuinely do anything. Some people like to speedrun and play aggressively. Some people like to play hardcore and cautiously. Some people like to build massive cities, and others like to build working computers with redstone. Whatever it could be, you can do it. On top of the list of already endless possibilities in the game, the modding support throws it into an entire different universe. The player base has so many mods that if you dislike anything about the game, someone has probably already made at least 5 mods to change it. When I first found this game, my imagination was allowed to run wild once again. I was free to create whatever I wanted, and to let my friends join me. And create I did. Sure, mostly everything I made as a kid was garbage in comparison to what's out there today, but did that ever stop me? No. In my most formative years, when some people embraced the idea of growing up and rejecting their imagination, I embraced my childhood. I embraced the idea of creating, the idea of shaping a universe just for me. And I believe that it changed my life. I think the butterfly effect from Minecraft has been monumental. How many people have subconsciously figured out what career they want based off of how creative this game lets you be? Maybe it's not that deep. Maybe Minecraft is just a simple Java program that a lot of people liked, but I choose not to think that. This genre of games has formed me into who I am, and I will always adore them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.